name is Blanca Castillo, and I work for Ibarra Borderland Connections as a migrant shelter connector and border encounter facilitator. Ibarra is a nonprofit organization based out of El Paso, Texas, and we serve the migrant shelter networks and migrant community in Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. I've been working with migrant shelter networks both on the US side and on the Mexico side for almost 2 years now. And I started with Ibarra maybe in the beginning of June this past year, right when MPP went into effect over in Juarez. I think for a lot of us working in border cities and working with migrant populations in general, the biggest buzzword for us right now is COVID-19. What's going to be our response? Like, how are we going to prevent? How are we going to meet the needs of those who are most vulnerable in the populations that we serve? To give you a little bit of an update from us and just context, Juarez has been very fortunate as in having the support of the municipal government state population council in helping orchestrate and registering shelters, kind of serving as a hub for nonprofit organizations to get connected, and connecting those registered shelters with resources. So we're very fortunate to have had that basis already established there so that we can kind of just shift into COVID-19 response. That's not to say that all the needs have been met. We're still working very ardently right now on trying to figure out measures and supply resources that just are not always there, but it's kind of just a work in progress. I think the situation right now, how it looks like for migrants, is that you have people who are in shelters, you have people who are being called in for their citas or their court dates that are being transferred back. There's lots of confused, mixed up information coming in from the El Paso courts and the migrants here. The state government at the moment, actually, due to some changes from like the federal government, they don't really actually have a building in place. So you have state employees going out into shelters trying to set up filter sites for any new people coming in from El Paso court dates so that they can be quarantined for a few days before they go out to their their respective shelters that they were at to begin with. Before these filter sites were even set up, like, people were scrambling trying to just get in enough donations to kind of equip the places with enough cots, enough showers, enough hygiene supplies. I think it's been through the amazing efforts of several NGOs and nonprofits to like OIM or Seguimos Adelante or a couple others to actually get these materials out. But we're still in need. We're still just right now seeing these filter sites being put to use. And that's kind of been the response. I mean, in several meetings that we've been having to discuss the shift from phase one, where it was just preventative measures and like advocating clean safety standards over in the shelters. Now we're moving into phase two, where the government can and will require quarantine from individuals coming in from the US. Us as an organization, we've become really limited. None of our team have been able to cross over to Juarez without getting red flags from like CBP over here coming back in. So what we've been trying to do is just orchestrate like grocery deliveries to shelters and also creating masks for people who will need them when they go in and out of work from here. And so thankfully we've already made like the relationships that were needed to help make that actually happen. So right now we're in the midst of working that all together to get food over to the shelters. But I'm also seeing, like, with all the suffering that's going on even within our own neighborhood programs here in El Paso, that a lot of people, like, even when they reach their lowest point, even when they lost jobs, like, they still believe in this concept of treating and loving your own neighbor as yourself. So it's been very refreshing, very eye-opening to me to see people come forward and volunteer their time, give even in a time of great lack towards these migrant families, and I encourage them to keep doing so. Just seeing, like, yes, you may be in a position where you have maybe very little or you're a little tight on funds, but putting yourself forward to give to those who may be in more dire situations. I just seen like the love of Jesus being exemplified by so many regular people, just everyday people like you or I. All that to say, I think in Juarez, it's still kind of scrambling. We're still trying to figure out, like, how is everything going to be set up? How are we going to orchestrate these filter shelters? How are we going to move people? How are we going to feed enough people? The government's kind of pulling its weight to provide what it can. Nonprofits are playing a huge role in meeting those needs still and supplementing what little there is right now. And I've also seen churches, like, right now, like, I think this has been a time, like, it's been a time where we're really limited in how we can act, but I also seen a lot of different communities that haven't had the time to just, like, stop, breathe, and, like, really rethink and collaborate with one another to see how we can most effectively work together to reach those people on the other side, which has been really beautiful, and I'm very glad to see that and to be a part of that. And beyond that, I think right now more than ever, yes, we're like all apart in our own designated areas, but it's also a time that we can be together to strategize, to work with one another and pray for one another in whatever situations, and also thinking about it like we're all one community. Like, the families in the shelter are experiencing the same fears and the same challenges, maybe even to a greater degree as the families here in our own neighborhoods in El Paso. So just being able to stand in solidarity with that and to continue to train our hearts to, like, love people even when our situations aren't as ideal as before. So I've seen churches reaching out to different nonprofits, and we've been able to collaborate with them even more so during this time, which has been lovely. I've also been able to, in this time of, like, I guess, stress, like, I've also been seeing the fruits of a lot of our efforts and collaborations with churches in the past kind of coming to fruition. I've been able to meet with asylees that we've been working together with churches and lawyers to kind of fight their way back out into freedom from detention centers, and those finally came through this past week. So it's been a blessing. I've seen fruits, and I also see new challenges up ahead, but I'm also very hopeful in the solidarity, the community that we have with different organizations and churches, and regular people just like you and I, praying together, asking how we can help, how we can serve, and how we can fill a need. So with that, that's kind of been our situation here in Juarez. I'm still encouraging, I'm still trying to, like, give the voice to so many people who are hurting as well right now, but they're just not able to voice it. So yeah, that's our situation in Juarez, and I'm pretty sure you'll be hearing a little more from my director, Sammy DiPasquale, about how it's been like for the church response over in El Paso. So with that, thank you so much for listening.